What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Scent Bubble. You can tell by the screen here, we are doing something super different. As you guys know, as the year progresses here in 2025, I'm going to be bringing out a lot of new surprises and features and just adding a lot of different types of value to FragCom that I feel are non-existent currently. And so since a lot of stuff will be coming out later in the year, I'm going to start giving you guys teasers of what's to come, such as this episode that we're going to do today, which is basically going to be, a type of consultation, two friends talking about fragrance. We're going to learn a lot, but I'm really excited to jump into this concept. But before we get started, you guys know I run my intro.
Okay, dinner for two. I watch that head move side to side as I let the sin into the room. You are on top, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish the food.
All right. Welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening, actually. I have a special guest with me, man. Y'all see him on the screen here. This is my boy C2. He's going to be kicking off this episode with me today. And before I get into all the nitty gritty details, C2, why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Who are you?
My name is C2 Fragrances. Obviously, I do fragrance content, a lot of fragrance content. I do all types of stuff, reviews, name it, all types of stuff in the FragCom. Like I said, try to give people as much knowledge as I can. Try to, put people on like to smell their best. Is what I do. So, yeah. So it's
Awesome.
another FragCom.
Dope. And how long have you been into buying fragrances?
For almost about it's about to go on a year now. So it's pretty much been about like 10 months so far.
Okay. And then how long have you had your YouTube channel?
Since August, like the start of my like senior year, I started on my channel.
Okay. Awesome, man. I'm going to throw you a random question. What do you like the most so far about your YouTube journey with fragrances? Like, what's the best part about it?
Um, it's fun, man. Now, honestly, I feel like I really do need to get like on a serious grind with my channel because I feel like I haven't done that yet. I've been grinding like a few times there and there, but it's like I haven't hit like a serious like grind like hard work like just really like trying to get content out and just like really trying to get my name out there. I feel like I haven't done that yet, and I feel like I'm just really trying to start to get in that mode. But what I love about it so far is just having fun, man. Just doing something that I love, fragrances. I get to like talk about what I love, and hopefully this can be my job one day. Is just to, just talk about fragrances, man. Just talk about fragrances, make fragrances, because I want to do my own perfumery in the future. So yeah, lots of stuff, man. I really enjoy it. I just have fun with it, man. It's just basically just you know, talking
It's
about
fun.
fragrances, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I really enjoy it, dude. I really have a good time. My channel started off as a joke, man. I didn't know how far it was going to go, and the people just were engaging so heavy, and the community was so cool. I was like, oh, I guess I'll keep doing it. But yeah, man, fragrances are fun, man, and I'm excited for what we're going to bring to the people today. Appreciate you introing. Okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do. I've been working on a lot of digital materials in the background. You guys know I'm working on my ebooks and different things like that. But I've been also working on some awesome, well, I think it's awesome, visual graphics to kind of help people navigate the fragrance space. And I wouldn't say it's all beginner because honestly, a lot of the stuff we think we know, we learn new definitions, and things just get more depth as we get into our fragrance journey. I say that like you learn to put stuff down and pick stuff up all the time, and your nose changes and matures, and there's just a lot to it. So I like to create these visual aids that I feel like really help any level of fragrance enthusiast navigate the space well. And so today is going to be somewhat of like a consultation type of scenario. I'm going to learn a little bit more about C2 in terms of his fragrance journey. And I'm going to see if we can identify where he's at in his collection and make recommendations as to what might be some new fragrances that he picks up in the future. And so I'm not going to show all of my digital material as far as how I would do this in a professional consultation setting. This is going to be just more like two friends chatting about fragrance, but I'm going to kind of sneak peek you guys into my mind in terms of how I navigate fragrance and how I would help people navigate through fragrance if I had the opportunity. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and switch screens real quick. Actually, no, let's do our rapid fire questions first, and then we'll switch to the digital material C2. So, first off, how old are you?
I am currently 18 years old. I just turned 18 in January, January 11th, which is my birthday. So I've been 18 for pretty much almost half a year now. So yeah, so going on
Okay,
19. Yeah,
awesome. And so you're just getting out of school. You're graduated?
yeah, I just graduated high school.
Okay, so graduated high school. And guys, if you hear me typing away, it's because I'm taking notes um, on this kind of scorecard for my assessment. Where do you live?
I live in Dallas, Texas. Grew up here. I was originally born in Birmingham, Alabama, but I only lived there for like 2 years. I was pretty much just a baby. I only lived there for 2 years, and then we moved down to Dallas, Texas, and I pretty much grew up here my whole life. It's been home. Love it here. Yeah, man, Dallas is home for me, and it has a heart, in my place. So yeah.
So, mostly like hot and humid weather in Dallas, right?
Oh yeah, man, that is a guarantee. I know Houston could probably be worse because I know my boy. Shout out to my boy Chris Siaj. I know he's in Houston. I know it's a lot worse down there with the
Uh huh.
humidity. But yeah.
Oh, do you ever get like rain or anything like that or cold weather?
Oh yeah. We do get quite a bit of rain down here. I think there are storms like currently moving in right now. I don't know if it's gonna hit us or not. It might miss us, but we get a lot of severe storms down here, like tornadoes, hail, wind, high wind, you name it. We get a lot of that stuff down here. Now the hurricanes is more like down near Houston. I mean, we can get it, but most of the time, we're such a big state. Hurricanes, they'll weaken by the time they get to us. So it's like, it's mostly just tornadoes and some thing up here.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's mostly hot and humid weather, and then you occasionally get some rain and colder weather here and there with some, obviously, some more chaotic weather. But as far as fragrance is concerned, you're wearing fragrances more that can last in the hot and humid climates with your occasional cold weather scents um, and on rainy day type stuff. Um, Now, how many fragrances roughly do you currently own?
I currently own, my bad if I had to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I currently own 18 fragrances. So
Okay,
yeah,
sick. And give me your five most worn fragrances from that collection.
this is the number one, two. It's kind of easy for me. My number one most worn is Hawaii Ice. Number two is Versace Pour Homme. Number three is Aqua de Gio, which I just recently just bought. That's like my most third one.
Which one,
Um,
Profondo?
yeah, Profundo.
Okay.
And then Alt Blue, which is a clone of a Blue de Chanel, I'm pretty sure. And then my last one, probably Versace Eros EDT. I know it's not really like a summer fragrance, but it's
Hey,
kind of
listen,
something I
man.
just
Eros
yeah.
is for whenever the heck you want Eros.
Hey, hey, I know some people try to say it's not a summer fragrance, but I feel like Eros is like low key a year round fragrance, in my opinion.
Eros is whatever you want it to be. Whatever you want Eros to be, it will be for you just fine. So, I'm not hating on that at all. Now, Now let's go into like your lifestyle. What's a typical day look like for you? What are you mostly doing? I know you said you just graduated high school, so we talked a little bit off camera. You said you're gonna start going to trade school. So you're going to be in school for a little while. So you're mostly going to be clocking into school most of the day. But what else do you got going on? Do you work? Do you hang out with family, friends? What do you do?
Uh, Mostly family, man. Obviously, I'm still currently living with my parents. Mostly just doing things around the house. Like I said, for right now, I've just been applying to jobs. Obviously, currently, um, I just chill around the house, do content. Obviously, I shoot content in the morning, edit, take care of that, get that out of the way. Um, Clean. If I have to do some cleaning, like bathroom, kitchen, like stuff around the house, or I'm either just chilling on the game. So I mean,
Yeah.
on the
So
other.
mostly, you're trying to enroll in school, so you'll be in school full time. You're around your family a lot, so you probably do a lot of like family functions and stuff. You're
Yeah.
currently looking for a job, so we'll just assume at some point you'll be mostly at school and work, and then you're a homebody. Um, what other reasons outside of that would you go out? And I'll give you some examples. Um, you know, gym, hanging out with friends, going to the mall, you go out to eat, any partying. What would be like special occasions for you? Do you have a girlfriend? Like what other stuff outside your normal stuff would be like a special occasion for you?
I haven't started. I have been going to the gym, but I'm about to go to a different one. I just need the money for a membership. So I do like going to the gym, obviously. Basketball, I really love playing basketball. Friends, I like going out with friends and stuff like that, malls and everything like that. I'm not really a party guy though.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like partying. I just like, I'm more of like a,
A homebody.
yeah, just a homebody. I'm not really like a
So
partying guy.
for sure. So when you're out with your boys, you're kicking it with your boys like either at their house or they're at your house or like the mall or the gym, stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And then in this season of life, what notes, if any, have you really enjoyed in fragrances? Like, is there any particular notes that you're like, man, I love that note with fragrances?
So number one for me, obviously vanilla. Number
Vanilla,
two,
okay.
bergamot. Number
Okay.
three, I like citrus.
Okay,
So
so
those are like my
citrus
top
in
three.
general, lemon, lime, bergamot, orange, stuff like that.
Mm.
Okay. Is that all?
Oh yeah, I forgot. What's that one? Yeah, lavender. I also like lavender too. And oh yeah, patchouli. I forgot about patchouli. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Awesome. And then at this point, is there any notes in fragrance that you hate?
Um, Probably.
It could even be a style of fragrance that you hate as well. Not necessarily a particular note, like whatever. Is there anything that so far in your journey you're like, I know I don't like this type of fragrance?
Uh, for sure, Jakar Noir. This is like my most least liked phrase. I know. I'm pretty sure you do have it, right?
Um, I do, but it's in my giveaway box.
Hey, great job. You're doing a great thing. Keep that up. Yeah.
I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of Drakkar Intense, but that's not really saying much outside of Noir because original Drakkar, Drakkar Noir, and Drakkar Intense are basically Fougere old school fragrances, but Drakkar Intense is the most modern feeling because it's got a lot of amber and it's a little bit boozy. But
Mm.
I would say those fragrances aren't really popular with young people because they were never made for young people. These are like barbershop scents that are for gentlemen, older men. So it makes total sense why that a fragrance like that wouldn't speak to you for sure.
Yeah, definitely not for the younger crowd at all. Other fragrances, honestly, Dior Fahrenheit. I know, pretty sure you know that gets a lot of hate. And then Yop Om, I feel like a lot of people just got into Yop Om because Jeremy Fragrance tricked everybody into getting that, and yeah, that was a
Now these are
total disaster.
fragrances you hate though. So old school
Yeah.
fougères like Drakkar and then Fahrenheit and then Jupe. You said you don't. So all of those you don't like.
No, I don't like those at all. There might be
Okay.
something else I don't like, but it ain't coming to my mind.
That's okay. It sounds like for the most part, fougères and then maybe like overly sweet, like flower basket type of fragrances aren't your jam. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, because like I really love Lamar Elixir. I just got this. This is like one of my top favorite fragrances. All the fragrances like Lamar Elixir. Yeah, Lamar Elixir. Latafa Karma. Like I love like overly like I don't like super super sweet fragrances, but I like my
You
sweet
love
fragrances.
vanilla, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Those fragrances are loaded with vanilla.
Mm.
Okay, perfect. And then and by the way, for those of you guys watching, we're almost done here with the question portion, but it's really important to ask a lot of questions because the more information you have, the better your advice can be because you really have context. Is there any occasion that you wish you had a fragrance for that you don't currently?
Um, for sure, a more cafe is one that I wish I, excuse me, for sure I had. Um, uh,
Not necessarily like a fragrance you wish you owned. A fragrance like, is there an occasion, meaning like, is there some place that you go to currently that you're like, man, I wish I had a fragrance for this?
oh, you're talking about like for like a certain occasion?
Like, man, I
Yeah.
really wish I had a good date night scent, or man, I really wish I had a good gym scent. Like, is there any occasion where you feel like you don't have a fragrance for it and you wish you did?
Oh yeah, multiple times. Yeah, for sure.
Like, what
On a
occasions
date
would that
night,
be?
maybe not, but like yeah, for like other occasions, yeah, obviously, yeah.
But like, what's the occasion? Like, what occasion do you feel like you don't have a fragrance in your collection for right now?
Um, obviously, I know I'm saying that, but then now I forgot. I feel like I don't have like a tropical like scent, like for the beach or something like that. I feel like I don't have a
Okay.
fragrance like that. Um, other places,
So
maybe
like a vacation or a pool type of fragrance.
vacation. Yeah, yeah, vacation pool type fragrance. I feel like I don't have that.
Okay. Any other occasions stand out to you that maybe you wish you had a fragrance for?
Um, it's kind of hard to think about. I mean, like,
It is hard to think about it because you're in such a regular routine, but sometimes if you think about it, like I'll give you an example. Maybe one time you went on a date and you realize like, man, most of my collection's not really romantic. Or maybe you went to a hotel and you're like, man, I kind of wish I had, like you said, with your vacation scent. Oh man, I don't have a vacation scent. Or like, man, when I'm at the cookout and we're barbecuing, I don't really have a fresh scent, stuff like that. So, but
yeah,
vacation, definitely vacation, or like a fragrance you would wear by the pool or on the beach or something like that. Um, that's what we got so far. I think that stands out too. I know a lot of people don't. That could be a fragrance you overlook. And in this case, since you have Lamal Elixir, um, that's a tobacco vanilla scent. So it's romantic. It's also manly, masculine, but the other Jean Paul Gaultiers are the ones that are tropical, not Lamal Elixir. So I could see why you wouldn't have a tropical fragrance unless you had something else to make up for it. Are you against clones at all?
not at all, not at all. I feel like there's a lot of people trying to say like the clones are dying or they're just like people get bored of them or something like that. But I feel like I can never get bored of clones because clones they always just come in like big time clutch, man. Because not everybody has the money for niche. Even including me, because that can get pricey even if you like had somebody to get the niche. But it's like clones come in clutch, so I'm a huge fan of clones. Yeah.
Okay. Always good to ask because I don't want to start recommending clones and stuff like that. And you're like, ah, nah, man, why did you even come at me like that? And then, like, I know a lot of people this changes for, but if you had to give me an answer, what's like your ideal price point that you spend on fragrances right now? Like, would you say when you buy a fragrance, you mostly buy fragrances that are under $50, under $150, or above $150 on average?
Um. Wait, which one? You said under one hundred fifty
So
dollars.
do your fragrances typically cost less than $50, less than $150, or above $150?
I'd say right now, currently at less than $150.
Okay, so you're buying fragrances anywhere from 0 to $150. That's like your, and are you comfortable with that price point right now?
Um, kind of yes and no. Like obviously, I feel like there's some like good cheapies that I can get for like clones, like good cheapy clones I can get for way better prices than what I'm getting now. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I'm not like very like disappointed with it. But it's just like I feel like I can get like better stuff out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so if there was a really great fragrance that was more affordable than like maybe a designer fragrance that normally is 100 to $150, you wouldn't be against that.
No, I wouldn't be too. It depends. Like if the fragrance is like, if it's something that I really like and I feel like I'd really enjoy it, then yeah, I feel like yeah, then I would have no problem. Like
You would prefer to spend the least amount of money to get the most value.
yes.
Okay. Now So I'll go ahead and mark that here. We're almost done here. I appreciate, you being patient with me. Um,
It's all good, man. I appreciate it, man. I'm having fun so far, man. Just
yeah,
hey, we're
hey
just
man, they call me the scientist, so we're getting nerdy and scientific with it right now. Um, so here's a question. What would you consider yourself right now? I think there's like three types of people in fragrance. There's more, but I like to be simple. So, do you only want the least amount of fragrances that you need to own? Like, are you a utility collector, meaning like I only want a fragrance for my occasions in my life and that's it? Would you consider yourself like collecting fragrances is like a small hobby for me, but I'm not trying to get too crazy? Or would you consider yourself like, no, I'm a collector? Where do you think you fall?
a collector for sure. Obviously a collect. I haven't gotten too crazy with it just yet, but honestly, because it's been financial reasons, obviously. But
Mm-hmm.
when I do, I think it's gonna get pretty crazy for me. But right now, it's just
So
it's kind of like
you don't see yourself quitting buying fragrances anytime soon.
oh no, like ever since I fell in love with this man, it's been addiction, man, and I feel like I don't need help. I feel like I'm just a normal. Most people would think I'm just crazy, but in my opinion, man, it's just my own world. It's just the calm before the storm right now. I look at it before, this gets bigger. Now, obviously, when I get my own area, I plan to have like a whole shelf, like my whole collection. But
Mm-hmm.
right now, it's just like kind of on my table right now. So,
Okay. Hey man, welcome to the club, dude. Okay, so now I've got all the information I need, and before I get cracking on like my little analysis, and we're gonna switch screens here. Is there any random questions that you've had in fragrance lately that you would like me to answer? Like any question you could ask, anything you're struggling with, anything outside of like recommendations. Like, is there anything that has stuck out to you that you've wanted to know more about fragrance so far?
so, how would you say like how much like clones compared to niche? Like, what do you think? Like, do you think like it's like how do I say this? Like, what would you prefer? Like, more like, would you prefer like OGs versions like niche, like the OG versions of the niche, or would you prefer like clones like over
Yeah,
those?
so are you saying am I uncomfortable with owning clones if they do the job?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's crazy with me and my fragrance journey. I got into fragrances from clones on a deep level, and I'll tell you how. For 15 years of my life, I only wore 5 fragrances. I probably won't
mm,
remember all of them. I wore Acqua di Gio Armani Eau de Toilette, the frosted bottle. I wore Marc Jacobs by Marc Jacobs, the original EDT, which I still own. I wore Versace Dreamer. I wore original Gucci. I think it was either Gucci Pour Homme or Gucci Guilty, whichever one was in the early 2000s. I wore Lacoste Style and Play Red. I wore Nautica Voyage. Those are some of the standout fragrances, but I wore those for 15 years straight. To me, fragrance was about utility. I want a fragrance when I get out of PE class, fragrance to talk to the girls, fragrance for if I had a special occasion I was going out, and that's it. And I loved those fragrances and what they did for me. And so I didn't think about I need more than one choice for all of this. Like I had 4 or 5 choices. I didn't know about seasons or occasion. I just wore one of those 5 fragrances and juggled them around for the occasions, and they always worked for me. Shoot, I was wearing super sweet fragrances in super hot weather, and no one was telling me, like, yo, you should be wearing that in the fall and winter. Like, that was not even a thing. It's either you smell good or you smell bad. I can also say, like, the guys and girls I grew up with had very low standards, so it wasn't that hard to make them because no one wears fragrance, right? Most people don't wear fragrance, so if you
yeah.
smell better than soap and or bo, you're automatically going to get a compliment. But anyway, so I wore that for 15 years, and then several years back I randomly came across this video because like 5 years ago or so I was like, you know what, I want to get some fragrances. It's been forever since I've gotten a new fragrance. I just haven't had time. You know, I had kids, I had a wife, I went to college, you know, I just forgot about fragrance. And some of my older fragrances lasted me forever. I didn't even think twice about it. So then I went to the store and I bought Jimmy Choo Man and I bought YSL L'Homme. And as soon as I got home, later that night, I was on YouTube and right on my home screen popped a video that said the 10 best fragrance clones of all time. And I said to myself, what the heck is a clone? What is that? So I clicked the video and watched it. And even at the end of the video, I still didn't know what a clone was, but it looked to be like there's people who tried to make famous fragrances and they're way cheaper and they're insanely cheaper than like even designer fragrances. But it was kind of like a knowledge bomb because I started learning more than that. Like through watching that video, I kind of rabbit trailed down into YouTube University where I started just watching anything with the word clone in it and started to learn like, clones are really cheap fragrances that try to copy other fragrances. Some do it more blatantly. There's not just, the fragrances that I have are called designer fragrances. I never even knew that. There's niche fragrances. Clones typically mostly clone niche fragrances because the pitch is like you can smell really expensive for really cheap. And so I'm just learning all this stuff. And then I bought some of my first clones, which was Club de Nuit Intense Man, Body Al Oud for Glory. You know, there was just a couple of fragrance and I was just blown away. I mean, I think I was more excited that I could just say I had an expensive smelling fragrance that I only paid $20, $30 for. The excitement of that was like, well, what else could I get? You know, because, you know, designer fragrances for me at that point had cost, you know, $100 to $150. So spending $20, I'm like, well, I'll just spend what I normally would spend for a designer fragrance. So if that's $150, I could buy like 7 clones. So then it just took me down a rabbit hole. And then to answer your question, what slowly started to happen is I started collecting clones, but before I would start buying clones, I'd never wanted to blind buy. So then I went to Sephora and Ulta Beauty and said like, well, I need to smell what these fragrances are cloning to see if I even like the OG to even want the clone. So then I said, well, I don't have a Neiman Marcus near me. I didn't even know where you could smell niche fragrances. I thought you had to buy decants if you ever wanted to smell a niche fragrance. So then I went to Sephora and Ulta Beauty and I'm like, I'm going to smell every designer fragrance and I'm going to write down all the designer fragrances I love. And then I'm going to go to YouTube and type Gentleman Reserve Privé clone, you know, Aqua di Gio clone, and just look for the clone alternative to all the designer scents and write down which designers I liked. Then from there, I found out I had a Neiman Marcus, and then I would go to the Neiman Marcus and I wanted to smell all the niche stuff. And then I started buying decants and it just spiraled out of control. Where I'm at in my journey now, 4 or 5 years into being like super into it, I've smelled hundreds of clones. I've smelled hundreds of designer fragrances. I've shopped at every rack store, every designer store. And in the niche world, Saks, Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus, there's literally not a single fragrance I haven't smelled 4 or 5 times over. I'm the kind of guy, I'm kind of like a savage. Like most people go into a store, might smell 10 fragrances. No, I go to Neiman Marcus and I'm smelling everything in there, whether I can smell it, whether I go nose blind or not, because I don't know when I'm going to be back next. So I want to see all these fragrances to figure out what stuff I like so then I can go home and do all my research. So I can truthfully say I've smelled hundreds of niche fragrances as well, and independent niche fragrances, which is niche fragrances you can't find at a Neiman Marcus. You have to find it online or locally. And so now I say all that to bring us back to answering your question about what my comfort level with clones versus OGs, because it's this story that shapes my opinion about it. I've smelled terrible designer fragrances. I've smelled incredible designer fragrances. I've smelled terrible clones. I've smelled amazing clones. I've smelled terrible niche. I've smelled incredible niche. In theory, as you move into niche, the fragrances should get better. They should get maybe better in complexity, better in quality with raw materials, better with packaging, perhaps better in performance. There's a lot of factors in the fragrance, but ideally, in theory, as you get into niche, you should have the highest level of quality in all of the categories compared to designer in clone. But what I realized in my journey is that's not true. It's true a lot of the time, but not even mostly true. I was finding there's niche fragrances that have terrible performance. There's niche fragrances that are complex, but they smell bad. I don't like them. And I was finding that some clone fragrances and some designer fragrances smelled niche. They smelled complex. They had performance. They had great presentation. And so I didn't know who to trust. I just left my mind all the way open and said, you know what? I have the ability to smell any clone fragrance I want, any designer fragrance I want, any inspiration house in any niche. So for me, I don't see names when I see fragrances. I just see juice. I smell the juice, and I don't need to feel special about what I own. I just need to feel special when I'm wearing the fragrance. It's a personal journey. So to answer your question now, I know that was the most long-winded answer ever, but I don't care. I explore clones. I explore everything, and I'm willing to buy anything. If there was a clone that was better than the original or equal to it, I'm totally open to getting that. What I'm finding is that there are many niche fragrances that simply either can't be cloned or that are worth the purchase. There's not a lot of them. I mean, there is a lot of them, but not comparatively to, like, you can't just blindly start getting any niche fragrance you want and saying it's worth the money. There's a lot of niche fragrances that aren't worth the money. But there are certain fragrances that I would never get a clone of because I've seen what they've done so far and they're just terrible. And I would say this, like with some of the best niche fragrances of all time, there's no clones of them. So that's another factor as well. But I would say at the very least, I have an open mind to everything. But when you start finding your favorite fragrances of all time in the niche world, there's rarely clones for them or good enough clones for them. But there are several amazing clones of niche fragrances that shock me that they exist, of great fragrances that I love from niche. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm sure it did.
Oh yeah,
Is there
oh
any other
yeah,
questions you have
it
for me?
answered it for sure. It answered it for sure.
Do you have any other questions for me before I do my little analysis for you?
No, no, that's all, man. Hey, but I appreciate the answer, man. I know it's long winded, but it's all good, man. You don't have to
Yeah.
get too much of it. But
Yeah, and I like to tell people my story too because, I own a lot of niche fragrances. I own a lot of designers and I own a lot of clones. I own a lot of rack store fragrances. And even though, like, for instance, I'm doing niche only purchases in the next, like, for the next 5 months straight, people are blown away that I'm acquiring so many niche fragrances fast. They're like, dude, you're spending house money on fragrances. I don't care. It's not an issue to me. But even, and some people think, like, when you get into niche, everything changes, and it does because your standards get higher. But it doesn't mean for me, I will never buy a clone again and never buy a designer. It's just that the standards are a little higher. Maybe I won't buy as much clones as I would have in the past because now it takes a lot to really intrigue me. But that's the same thing for niche. Like, there's some houses where there's not a single fragrance I like from the entire house, and this house carries fragrances that people buy all day long. So I just try to be honest with myself. Um, but yeah, I'm very open minded. I just like smelling new fragrances, man. That's really what it comes down to. I enjoy it. Um, and yeah, I'm definitely a collector at this point. Okay, so I'm gonna switch screens for you real quick and do my little analysis, and we are gonna get out of here because we're already pushing 35 minutes. I'm gonna try to do this in 10 minutes. So I'm gonna switch out here to our window for the crowd. And as you guys can see, this is one of many charts that I have, but I'm only teasing this to you guys because I don't want to spill the beans on all my charts. But this is a chart I've designed. Many people have made charts like this. This is the scent bubble chart. It's patented by SB down here. Okay, so I took, I just want to summarize kind of some of the things that you said to me, and then we'll move into some directions to try and answer like what fragrances should you kind of consider in your collection at this point. So your five most worn fragrances is Hawas Ice, which is a fresh spring summer, but I would say any season, any reason, but it shines best in warmer climate. Versace
Yeah.
Pour Homme, which is basically the same, you know, blind grab. You can wear it anywhere, do anything with it. Profondo, similarly, it's kind of an upscale casual fragrance that's year round. You could wear it with anything. You could dress it up, you could dress it down. Your Alt Blue, which is a Bleu de Chanel rendition, it is the same. It's a very versatile blue fragrance that you could dress up or dress down. And then Eros is probably the only unique one out of those just because Eros is a versatile any season, any reason fragrance, but due to the heavy dose of vanilla in it, it can it's probably the only fragrance from those that can go like date night. You can wear a casual or upscale casual fragrance to a date, but I call it a friend zone fragrance because yeah, the girl will say you smell good, but she won't think you wore the fragrance for her. She'll just think you wore the fragrance for yourself. Does that make sense? Because you have a fresh aquatic citrus fragrance that's not very intimate. She's going to be like, well, that's probably what he wears out of the gym. It's probably what he wears around school. Whereas if I'm wearing something that has some sweetness in it, now it's kind of like if she came over for Netflix and chill and you put the candle on, you're gonna light a sweet candle. You're not gonna light a bergamot candle when your girl's coming over. You want to have an intimate feel, and sweetness conveys intimacy. So Eros is the one fragrance out of your top five that can lean, it can double as versatile and late night. So it looks like the fragrances that you like the most are spring, summer leaning fragrances, but that can be used year round, which makes sense because in Texas, you're dealing with hot humidity and you need, you know, citruses can stand up to that, aquatics can stand up to that. And you don't really have to worry about it when it gets into colder weather or rainy weather because typically citruses and aquatics and stuff like that, very refreshing, invigorating fragrances can be worn year round. But do you have a lot of you did say you liked a lot of sweet fragrances because vanilla is one of your favorite notes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me summarize a couple of other things that I want to take into account looking at this chart. So you're 18, which means you graduated high school. So as far as your lifestyle is concerned, you go to school, you're eventually going to be going to work, and then you basically just come home and kick it at home unless you're kicking it with your boys, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be good for you to have a work scent, a school scent, a chilling at home scent, you know, something that just makes you feel good, and then maybe a scent when you're going to go out with your boys, right?
Yeah.
So those are that's the lifestyle in terms of fragrance recommendations that I'm thinking about. It's like you're at work, you're at school, you're at home, you're with your boys. Um, and then you said we already went through like your typical day, school, family, job, homebody. Um, the special occasions for you is like going to the mall, going to the gym, sports, which would all be like a versatile fragrance. Those aren't really like super special occasions, but they are like, you know, when you're actually dressing up maybe to get out of the house. Your favorite notes is vanilla, bergamot, citrus, lavender, and patchouli. A lot of your fragrances have vanilla and bergamot or some form of citrus in it. I didn't really hear any lavender or patchouli fragrances. What lavender or patchouli fragrances come to your mind in your collection that you really love right now?
Uh, Vanilla for sure. Like I said, I don't have too. I mean, not. I meant Lamar Elixir. I don't know what I just said right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, I don't have too many lavender fragrances. It's kind of hard to like,
But you just like the smell of lavender?
yeah, I like to smell lavender. I know there's some lavender fragrances that I smell, but obviously, I don't know if it's gonna come to mind because I don't have it. So I mean, yeah.
That's all good. Any patchouli fragrances that stand out to you in your collection that have patchouli in them?
Obviously, Aqua de Gio, and I'm pretty sure
Oh
Was.
yeah, Oh, your Profondo has patchouli in the base. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and you know that's the most classy fragrance you own out of your top five, in my opinion. Um, I would say Blue de Chanel, but your Blue de Chanel's an inspiration. So, but okay, good to know, man. You hate old school fragrances, fougères, you know, peppery, spicy, barbershop feel, and then like flower basket type fragrances as well. A fragrance that you want to get is a vacation or pool party fragrance, so we're gonna deal with that first. You're not against clones, so I'm gonna recommend fragrances in every category for you. I'm mostly going to give you recommendations in the clone and designer field because that's what you're comfortable with. But then I'll also give you a couple recommendations where if it's a birthday or Christmas or something like that, you can move up and think about having some, you know, getting, because you said you're going to be a collector. So now you guys start thinking of what's going to be my first niche fragrance that I get, you know? So we'll think about some of the factors there. And then your budget is typically below 150, but again, I'm going to recommend stuff in all in those categories. And you're a collector, so covering all your bases, I'm going to keep in mind too. Okay, let's look at this chart. So your fragrances is, you know, you have a lot of citruses, woody fragrances, um, and then probably like your sweeter fragrances. Um, and that's really it. Like, so when it comes to florals, fruits outside of citrus, um, orientals, different variations of woods, aromatics, there's not a lot of stuff there. So I'm going to start to look in those categories to see if we can kind of balance out some of the fragrances in your collection. And then you mostly have spring summer fragrances. That Lamal Elixir would be like more of a fall winter, but you don't really have as much cold weather scents, or I would say you probably mostly have fresh sweet fragrances more than sweet fragrances. Is that fair?
yeah, for right now, yeah. I know I plan on getting another Gourmand soon, which is probably the best time to get it right now because that's when a lot of it's on sale right now because a lot of people try to get the seasonal fragrances like when the season hits, but they don't get it like when it's kind of like far out and most stuff is on sale. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, probably I'm gonna get a couple more like Gourmands for sure.
Absolutely. So, one of the things I was going to say before I start making my recommendations right now is, you know, you have the least amount of sweet fragrances and more like citruses and aquatics and woods and stuff like that. Would you rather have some more sweeter fragrances, or do you want to continue to build out your fresh fragrance side as well?
I would love to have some more sweeter fragrances because I really love exploring that side, and that's been like my most favorite so far. And I kind of want to, just establish off that, like, something that I really love, and I kind of want to see how like deep I can get into it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna focus on some more sweeter fragrances. I'll try to do some mildly sweet. That way, they're versatile, kind of like how your Eros is, where it's versatile, but it also has some sweetness. And then I'll also give you kind of what I would call some all-in sweet fragrances that really go there with it. You know, because we want you to be able to have not only a good, strong cold weather scent, but also something that like is more romantic, I would say. Um, and believe it or not, romantic isn't always like for a date. It could just be maybe you're around a lot of women. Maybe you are at a family event and there's women around. Maybe it's Thanksgiving or Christmas. You don't want to be coming out in profondo. It's like, come on, bro. You know, there's cinnamon out. There's the Christmas trees up. We don't need you to smell like water right now. You know what I'm saying? So we'll play in that category. Okay, I've got everything I need. So I'm gonna start letting my mind work here a little bit. So first and foremost, in the clone category, you don't have tropicals yet.
No.
So for your age specifically, a fragrance that immediately stands out to me is Cod Lodge Island. Because you don't have Ultramel, you don't have Lamal, you don't have Paradise Garden, you don't have nothing. So like 18-year-old fragrances that I see doing really well right now in terms of tropical, probably the most sold in the clone category right now is going to be a tie between Zanzibar and Cod Lodge Island, because Cod Lodge Island is an amazing LeBeau rendition for that tropical vanilla coconut experience. So I don't think you really need both. I think it'd be super redundant. Zanzibar is sweeter. LeBeau is more. It's definitely very sweet, but it's more offset by coconut, whereas Zanzibar is, I mean, it's got coconut in it, but it's way richer. It's like a rich, creamy vanilla with coconut, whereas LeBeau kind of feels a little, it's a heavy fragrance, but it doesn't feel creamy. It just feels like soft, powdery sweet. So I would definitely, I think Cod Lodge Island runs about 30, $40. You might want to write these down too, just so you have them. Or you can just watch the video back actually. But so that stands out to me as like a good tropical fix for you. Pool party. You must. So have you heard of Milestone or Nitro Red?
Um, I've heard of Nitro Red, but Milestone, I don't think from what I recall, I don't think I've heard it.
Okay, so Nitro Red is basically a watermelon fragrance. It's like red fruits, it's almost basically like the red watermelon take on like Versace Eros Energy, which I'm sure you've smelled, right?
Yeah.
Replace the pineapple with watermelon, very vibrant, fun. But what I love about Milestone is it's Club de Nuit Milestone. It's a clone of Millesime Imperial, and it's also a watermelon fragrance, but rather than like candied watermelon, it's almost like a watermelon reduction. Like it's soaked in warm amber and vetiver, so it's got a little earthy base to it. It's kind of like Elysium-esque, but it's like a beautiful, it's basically Profondo with a warm amber watermelon twist. And that to me is the best pool party fragrance of all time in the clone category. Like Millesime Imperial is already one of the best Creed fragrances of all time. This fragrance is only like 20, $25, 100 ml. You could wear it anytime near water. Beach, pool party, hotel. You're at the pool at the hotel. You're at your boy's house swimming in the pool. You know, cookout. There's a pool in the backyard. Whatever. I don't care if you have the sink on in your house. Anywhere there's water, this is the, I call it the yacht fragrance. But it's still fun and playful, but it's got that sophistication. You know how when you wear Profondo, you feel like pretty manly, like it's super fresh, but because of that patchouli in the base, like it just has some earthiness where you feel, if you're 18, it makes you feel like you're 20. You know what I'm saying? Like it just, it's a little bit more masculine than like Versace Pour Homme to me, like those type of fragrances, or like a blue fragrance. So I would definitely look into Milestone, because anything near water, you're going to love it, but you don't have to be near water to wear it. It just has pool party vibes, but it gives you a different vibe than a tropical fragrance. I wouldn't call it a tropical fragrance at all. It's a fun, sophisticated fragrance that you could wear year round. Another alternative to that, if you want to play with like a water, instead of watermelon, maybe a grapefruit feel, because you said you like bergamot. So a lot of your fragrances are lemon, lime, or bergamot. You can mess with grapefruit as a fresh fragrance. So a warmer fragrance that I really love, especially in cold weather, but also it holds up in hot weather, is Equus. So La Lique is the house, and the fragrance is called Equus, Equus. This is very simple. It's like grapefruit, amber, and vetiver. So vetiver just makes you feel manly. The amber is like this warm, slightly sweet. And then that grapefruit, though, is like a citrus, but it has all that tart. You know what I'm saying? It's like grapefruit rind. So it's like invigorating. It makes you feel like alive and happy, but it's sophisticated a little bit too. And I think for your age, that's what you want. You kind of want a fragrance that is fun, but also doesn't make you lose your manhood. Like you feel like this is the man I'm trying to become. You know, I'm young, but like I'm trying to be grown, but I'm still trying to be playful too, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I like about the fragrances I'm recommending to you. They're sophisticated for your age, but they're still fun. Um, Let me think of some other ones. Oh, this is a must-have if you love vanilla. So, uh, some great fragrances that young people start to get into when it comes to niche is Instant Crush and Layton from Parfums de Marly. But you don't need Instant Crush and you don't need Layton because the clones that I'm about to give you are insane. So to me, if you want Layton as a clone, but not from a clone house, actually a designer fragrance. There's a fragrance called La Lique White and Black. And that fragrance is 1-to-1 to Layton, but it's fresher. So I actually think it beats Layton, and it's only $20. So it's called the house is La Lique, and the fragrance is called White in Black. So you're gonna get vanilla. It almost has this kind of cherry chapstick / vanilla vibe, but it smells expensive. It's perfect in cold weather, but it's fresh enough to kind of, as long as it's not 90 plus degrees out, you can still wear it in warmer weather. That is going to be like your showstopper vanilla. Like you'll be switching between Eros and this all day long. Um, what else do I have for you? You don't have a work fragrance. I mean, Profondo is nice, but Profondo is a fragrance that you wear so much that you kind of would like to have an actual work fragrance that you only wear at work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That way, Profondo is more of like maybe when you go out with your boys, or you're at home, or you know you're going to the mall or something. But it's not like, oh well, there's the guy that wears Profondo. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even if you have a good fragrance, you don't want it to be like the only thing you're wearing all the time. And mainly your fresh fragrances right now is Versace Pour Homme, Profondo, and Bleu de Chanel. So you've got your blue, you've got and then you got like two kind of versatiles. So you wind up having to use Profondo for work, which isn't a bad thing, but having like two work fragrances is kind of nice because your work fragrances wind up being your formal fragrances. Like, if you have like a serious occasion, you'll wind up wearing the Profondo and the Versace Pour Homme because it's like the classiest thing you got. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so it's kind of nice if you have something else there. And that's what those fragrances could do for you. Have you heard at all of like Mahir Legacy Silver?
Yeah, I've heard of Mary. Let me see. So
Yeah, so that's another thing to think about in terms of like being more versatile in your citruses. Is a lot of your citrus fragrances are going to be like lemon dominant and bergamot dominant. So there's room in there for like lime and grapefruit based fragrances that still give you that feel, but just have a little bit different character to them. How do you feel about cherry?
um, I mean, interesting. It's an interesting like note. I think I'd say.
Be
Um,
And you can be totally transparent, man. There's no judging.
I said there ain't too many cherry fragrances out there. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there is. There's like there ain't too many. So it's like it ain't gonna be very often that you're gonna smell cherry. So
Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple more quick recommendations. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab them off the shelf. Okay. And again, right now we're talking about budget clone based cheapies that perform really awesome. So they're all fun but sophisticated. So as I'm looking at your collection, I'm thinking in my mind like, okay, you've got some good staple fragrances. the theme we want to stay consistent with is playful but sophisticated still. Like, you're becoming a young man, so you don't want the fragrance to be so playful that you don't feel, a little bit grown. So the playful, obviously, I recommended the Millesime Imperial Clone, which is Milestone. But another angle you could take it that'll give you the same vibe, but you might not be into watermelon as much, so you might want to have another option, is going to be Amir Sadrat Essence from Paris Corner. And that basically has the same playful vibe as the watermelon fragrance, but this is green melon. So it's kind of got a honeydew feel. So picture it smells very expensive, like instant crushy, but it's got a dominant note of green honeydew melon instead of watermelon. So that's an option for you as well as an alternative there. Cherry. So there's a fragrance from Guerlain called L'Homme Ideal Extreme. That might be too expensive for you. Maybe, maybe not. But if you want a great 10 out of 10 clone, there's a fragrance called Supreme L'Homme Extreme. And that fragrance smells like cherry almond champagne. That's the best way I can explain it. So I'm not a big cherry guy by itself. It's like, it's not really my fruit of choice. But when you tell me white champagne and almonds, now I'm kind of interested because it's like a little bit of cherry, but it kind of smells more like a white champagne. I do like that smell, So it's got like a light cherry note, and then it's a little bit nutty with a white champagne finish. It's like a sparkling type of fragrance. Works really well at date night, but it's so fresh. It's a great cold weather scent. So that's something else you might want to get into. What's great about it is $20 on Amazon. You could literally have it on your front door tomorrow. A lot of people love that recommendation, even grown men. Another house I would love to see you get into more is Bentley. Bentley is like the best house for young men becoming men because their fragrances are so versatile, but they just smell like money. Like they smell like you got your stuff together. Like this dude works, he pays his bills. Yeah, he might live with his parents, but you know what? He's going to be something in life. You know what I'm saying? So like instead of a fragrance like Creed Aventus, I would recommend a fragrance like Bentley Black Edition to you. That fragrance is $25. It's basically Creed Aventus, but instead of pineapple, it's mandarin orange. So you get like this mandarin orange, and then it's classy. You got vetiver, you got like sage, I believe in it. Like, so it's just got this like almost the same vibe as patchouli. Like it just has this earthy undertone, but it's like this fresh mandarin orange top. It just feels like you got out of an expensive car, like it's like this guy gets money. He's a young guy getting money. That's what it smells like, So that fragrance, you could dress it up. It goes upscale casual to work to serious occasion expensive. And then the other fragrance I was going to recommend to you is Odyssey Homme Black Edition. This is the best Spice Bomb Extreme alternative. You also don't have anything very spicy. This smells exactly like Spice Bomb Extreme and Spice Bomb Infrared had a baby. It's so nice. It lasts forever. It's only $20. Odyssey Homme Black Edition by Armaf is easily my top 5 greatest clones that I own. It's Spice Bomb and Spice Bomb. It's Spice Bomb Extreme and Spice Bomb Infrared had a baby, and it's so like this vanillic spices, ambers, but it's fresh too. It's so good, dude. Lasts forever on your skin. I recommend that. Have you smelled Black Orchid at all?
No.
That might be challenging for you, but it has notes that I know you like, so it's got patchouli, it's got chocolate. So it's velvety chocolate on patchouli, and then it has an orchid note. The orchid note seems to be the only thing that can sometimes be intimidating for younger guys because they're like, well, I love the chocolate and patchouli part. That sounds amazing. But then there's this like floral note to it. I'm not sure how I feel about that. If you ever wanted to take a blind buy dive this fragrance is 100 times better than Tom Ford Black Orchid. It's called Zara Man from Fragrance World. Mexican chocolate, cacao, patchouli, vanilla, and orchid. It is the sexiest date night killer I have in the clone world. And this is way better than the original Tom Ford Black Orchid, and I think it's only $30. Amazing beast mode performance. 2-3 sprays, you're good. It's just a sexy man scent, but you can't wear it like casual date night. It has to be nighttime. This is nighttime in a bottle for dates or just special occasion nights. Signature scent worthy. So definitely copy that down when you run this video back. I'm trying to think if you're, I think I gave you a ton of recommendations. I would just say, in the designer world, do you have any date nights in your designer collection? Like what are the, you have Lamal Elixir. I mean, dude, honestly, if you have Lamal Elixir, you have everything. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a tobacco vanilla. Are you into like d4r Homme Intense or Gentleman Reserve Privé from Givenchy?
Yeah, I like those phrases, and then I also have Time for Karma, which is my other date night, and then I guess you can consider Eros EDT as a
Uh-huh.
small date night. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I were you, man, some like maybe you might want to get some like YSLY in your life, or some La Nuit de l'Homme from YSL, or some I honestly, I think if you got Givenchy's Gentleman Reserve Privé, you would just have a killer date night fragrance. Like, dude, if you had Lamal Elixir and Gentleman Reserve Privé, I don't think you would need another date night fragrance for the next 10 years. Those fragrances alone have so much. I mean, and Eros, if you want something fresher. But in terms of like pure date night, between Lamal Elixir and Gentleman Reserve Privé from Givenchy, dude, you would be killing it. Girls would be begging you to smell like that. So I don't really want to recommend too many things in the designer category, but I do think you should build on your sweet game. Problem with a lot of sweet fragrances is they're too sweet. Like part of me wants to recommend like 1 million Lucky or 1 million Elixir, 1 million Parfum to you, but and those are amazing fragrances, but they're so dang sweet. And you live in Texas, so it's like unless it's just cold out, you can't really wear it at nighttime, or it'll just feel too heavy. So, with Lamal Elixir, you have that freshness from lavender and tobacco to kind of lighten it up, even though it's still heavy. It's just not as heavy as some of those other ones. And then Gentleman Reserve Privé is softened up by iris. But it's not like d4r Homme Intense iris where it feels too floral. It feels still sexy and dark in Gentleman Reserve Privé. So I would stick with like Privé, dude. And, and if you have Eros Privé and Lamal Elixir, I mean, you don't even have to think about date night category for a long time, man. And then at that point, you could just build up your sophisticated side with that stuff. I don't know if you're ready for like purely floral fragrances or purely woody fragrances yet. You've got your Bleu de Chanel, so like you've got some blues and some aquatics with your Profondo. So I wouldn't really recommend anything there. Another amazing work scent for your age would be Ferragamo Bright Leather. Ignore the fact that it says leather. It just smells nothing like leather. They use a blonde leather, so I would just say it feels sophisticated, and then it has like a bergamot top. So you love your bergamot. So picture like bergamot on the freshest cut of like a suede feeling leather, but it's so light and fresh. It's the only leather fragrance you can wear in the hottest heat possible. And it just smells incredible because it's like bergamot, lemon driven. Actually, no, I think it's just bergamot driven, but that's like a great work scent where it's like you would wear that for work only and get rid of doubling Profondo in that category too. Um, yeah, man, I think I got you a lot of stuff there, man. Is there any questions you have?
No, not at all, man. I think you dropped a lot of knowledge, a lot of advice, a lot of phrases for me to get. So I feel like I got plenty of all the questions that I needed. So no, I'm good,
Sick.
man.
Yeah, as far as niche, we'll end on this, but As far as the niche category, I think for you, and it kind of sounded earlier like you're already in this direction, but I think Mancera would just be a great starter house for you as you think about niche. Not just because of the fragrances, but mainly because of the price. Like on discounters, every Mancera fragrance you're going to be looking for is going to be between 70 and $100. So you're spending like mid-tier designer money for entry-level niche fragrances. And then if you're looking for some recommendations in the Mancera lineup, I highly recommend, like, if you want something like very tropical-esque, I would go like Jardin Exclusive. Um, if you want like a candied luxury smell, go Instant Crush. Lemon Oud Mint, if you want the lemon mint freshy kind of feel. I know you want Amora Cafe, but I'll be honest, it is a little bit better than Camera, but not enough to where I would spend $100 for it. Like, I feel like if you have Camera, you have Amora Cafe to me. So I would spend your money to just get a different type of fragrance in that category, and maybe get a Mora Cafe. Put it this way: if you really have your eyes set on a Mora Cafe, please just hold on to your Decant and try some of the other Manceras until you know, because Mancera has so many fragrances, right? Like, you might as well just try to get as many different ones as possible. So those are the ones that stand out to me that would be great for you: Lemon Oud Mint, Jardin Exclusive, Instant Crush. I don't think Cedrat Boisé is going to be your tea. Like, so many young people ask about that fragrance. There's so many. Oh, Amberful. Amberful to me is top 2 best Manceras. It works for
Yeah.
any age. You smell expensive, and it's the best, like, pure amber fragrance to me. Um, it's better than Instant Crush to me because it's not so sweet that it can't be year round. Like, Amberful is just a very amber, fresh, luxurious, candied kind of scent that's light enough to where you could just wear it year round, especially in the heat. Women are going to think you're like, I think if you wore Instant Crush in the heat, it just wouldn't make any sense at all. It would just be too sweet. You'd have to be only wear it like when you're going out at night. But Amberful you could wear all day long, and people are gonna think you smell expensive but super fresh. Um, so yeah, I think Mancera would be a great niche house for you to start with. Um, Tom Ford, not really. I would stick with Mancera for now and see what you're into. Also, just try to get into a Neiman Marcus at some point so you could try everything and start writing down what you like. And then from there, you can start to build out, when you're going to treat yourself to a niche fragrance, what you might want to get.
Okay. All right.
Cool, man. All right, man. I know I talked your ear off. We hit like an hour, which is cool with me because, like, I was getting into it. So this stuff really interests me, and I don't like giving people like just a few recommendations. I like to throw a bunch of names out there so you can look back through the video and start looking up on Fragrantica these fragrances and see their ratings. And if you don't want that fragrance, you could look up what other fragrances are like those. But most of the fragrances I recommended you can get for less than $30. So that's awesome because, like, for $100 you can pick up 4 or 5 of these like today. So yeah, man, that's all I got for you. Do you have any questions for me before we kind of close out with your with your YouTube channel and stuff like that?
No, I'm all good, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you're gonna need to take a nap after this consultation because
Yeah.
I loaded
Yeah, I think
your.
I yawned like what 2 or 3 times through this, so yeah, I think I'm getting pretty sleepy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
know it
those of
started
y'all who
late.
don't know, man, C2, it's like 11 o'clock or something where he's at, or 11:30. So I'm holding him hostage. But cool, man. Well, hey, listen, if you have any questions, I'm around. So love to help you out. But yeah, just I'll send you this video recording so you could just kind of use it when you feel like buying fragrances, seeing what we talked about. Um, yeah, guys, C2 has a YouTube channel, like he told you. He's just getting started in his fragrance journey, but he absolutely loves it, and I could tell the passion that he has. So, C2, tell him how they can find you on YouTube.
You can just find me just obviously C2 Francis. C2, obviously you see the name down here, but it has the S at the end, obviously. So yeah, pretty easy to find my channel, not too hard. Really don't have too many people say they have an issue with finding me, so pretty easy to find me. So shouldn't be too hard.
Okay. And I'll tag your video in the description below so people can find you.
Okay, appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, hey guys, listen, I'm the Scent Bubble. This was C2. We were just seeing where he was at in his journey and making some recommendations and things to think about as he continues to build his collection out since he wants to be a collector. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, see the thought process behind like how to think through building a collection. And I hope by that chart, you guys got to just, sometimes it's just good to see what other styles of fragrance are out there. That way you can kind of see like, well, oh, I don't have that type of fragrance, or man, I don't have these fragrances, but I live in a place where I couldn't really wear those anyway. I know for me in Arizona, it's north of 90 degrees every single day. It's so hot. I love sweet fragrances just as much as the next man, but it's hard for me to wear a sweet fragrance in Arizona unless it's cold, and it's rarely cold. So, I got to make excuses, be indoors, and make cold climate for it to work for me. So it doesn't matter how much I love sweet fragrances. I should mostly have invigorating, fresh scents because it matches where I live. But anyway, those are just some of the things we're thinking through. I hope you guys found value from this episode today. C2, appreciate you for joining me. We hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. And until next time, take care. Scent Bubble C2 signing off.
All right, peace out.